We begin tonight with the first televised testimony in the impeachment investigation, which included the stunning news of the president's voice being overheard on that cell phone in that restaurant in Ukraine. Toward the end of his long and detailed opening statement today, Ambassador William Taylor delivered hugely important new information that was not included in his testimony to the committee in a closed-door deposition last month. It was devastating new testimony about Donald Trump. And not one Republican member of Congress in that room said one word about that devastating new testimony. The Republican members of Congress are so afraid of that new information that they were rendered utterly speechless about it all day in today's hearing. That new information has added a new, very important witness to the witness list in the impeachment inquiry. Here is how Ambassador Taylor delivered that incriminating new information about Donald Trump and revealed the existence of a new, very important witness.
In the presence of my staff at a restaurant, Ambassador Sondland called President Trump and told him of his meetings in Kyiv. The member of my staff could hear President Trump on the phone asking Ambassador Sondland about the investigations. Ambassador Sondland told President Trump the Ukrainians were ready to move forward. Following the call with President Trump, the member of my staff asked Ambassador Sondland what President Trump thought about Ukraine. Ambassador Sondland responded that President Trump cares more about the investigations of Biden, which Giuliani was pressing for. At the time I gave my deposition on October 22nd, I was not aware of this information. I'm including it here for completeness. As the committee knows, I reported this information through counsel to the State Department's legal advisor, as well as to counsel for both the majority and the minority of this committee. It is my understanding that the committee is following up on this matter.
Sources familiar with the matter tell NBC News that the person who overheard Donald Trump's phone call with Ambassador Sondland was David Holmes, an official at the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine. David Holmes is scheduled to give a closed-door deposition to the impeachment inquiry on Friday, which could mean that he might be added to the list of witnesses for public hearings as early as next week. Republicans did not say one word about this devastating new testimony about Donald Trump caring more about investigating Joe Biden than he cares about Ukraine. The two witnesses who testified today, Ambassador William Taylor and Deputy Assistant Secretary George Kent, cared deeply about Ukraine and kept returning to the importance of the U.S. government's support for Ukraine while it is under attack from Russia. In fact, Ambassador Taylor was actually at the front line, literally the front line of Ukraine's hot battle with Russia, at the very moment that Gordon Sondland was on the phone in that restaurant in Ukraine with Donald Trump. When David Holmes testifies about hearing Donald Trump's voice on Gordon Sondland's telephone, Republicans are not going to be able to complain about hearsay. That is not hearsay evidence. That is someone who was there telling you what he heard the President of the United States say and what he heard Gordon Sondland say. That is going to be another very bad day for the Republicans on the Intelligence Committee. Every day was a bad day for the Republicans during the closed-door depositions because the transcripts show that the Republicans could not come up with any form of defense for Donald Trump in those depositions, and they didn't bother with the kinds of stunts and speech-making that they do in public hearings. Today, Chairman Adam Schiff delivered a masterclass of how to chair a congressional hearing in the age of Trumpism in Congress. The chairman held a tight rein on the proceedings. He shut down Republican interruptions so quickly that Republicans gave up trying to interrupt. And Jim Jordan, who was specifically imported into the committee just last week by Republicans so that their so-called toughest guy could be the toughest questioner, was crushed. And I mean, he was crushed by Congressman Peter Welch, who will join us later in this hour.
There is one witness one witness that they won't bring in front of us, they won't bring in front of the American people. And that's the guy who started it all, the whistleblower.
I say to my colleague, I'd be glad to have the person who started it all come in and testify. President Trump is welcome to take a seat right there.
Jim Jordan was not content to just complain about hearsay. He also lied about today's witnesses while he was at it.
Now, over the next few weeks, we're going to have more witnesses like we've had today that the Democrats will parade in here, and they're all going to say this: so-and-so said such and such to so-and-so, and therefore we got to impeach the president.
What a vile liar that man is. Today's witnesses very specifically did not say, we got to impeach the president. They both specifically refused to offer any view of whether the evidence they were presenting is impeachable conduct. They scrupulously avoided any such comment, and Jim Jordan just lies about them. Lies about them. Right in front of them, right in front of an audience who all know Jim Jordan is lying. Jim Jordan lied about George Kent, saying that George Kent was there today saying, you got to impeach the president. George Kent never said anything like that.
My name is George Kent, and I am the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Eastern Europe and the Caucasus. I have served proudly as a nonpartisan career Foreign Service officer for more than 27 years, under 5 presidents, 3 Republican and 2 Democrat. As I mentioned in my opening comments last month in the closed-door deposition, I represent the 3rd generation of my family to have chosen a career in public service and sworn the oath of office that all U.S. public servants do in defense of our Constitution. Indeed, there has been a George Kent sworn to defend the Constitution continuously for nearly 60 years, ever since my father reported to Annapolis for his plebe summer.
That is the George Kent who Jim Jordan lied about today. Jim Jordan also lied about Ambassador William Taylor. Lied about Taylor testifying that you got to impeach the president. Jim Jordan put those words in Ambassador Taylor's mouth. Not true. Ambassador Taylor didn't come close to saying anything like that. He simply repeatedly answered questions about what he saw and what he heard and what he knows. Nothing but facts. Ambassador Taylor and Donald Trump are a year apart in age. They are a year apart in college graduation, but they could not possibly be farther apart in the way that they have lived their lives.
Ambassador Taylor, what year did you graduate from West Point?
1969, sir.
It was the height of the Vietnam War, wasn't it, sir?
The height was about that time.
What was your class rank at West Point?
I was number 5.
How many people were in your class?
800.
800 cadets, you were number 5.
Yes, sir.
So when you're top 1% of your class at West Point, you probably get your pick of assignments, but you picked the infantry.
I did, sir. Yes, sir.
You were a rifle company commander?
Sir.
Where'd you serve?
In Vietnam.
Did you see combat in Vietnam, sir?
I did.
Did you earn any accommodations for that service?
I was awarded the Combat Infantryman's Badge, which is my highest, I'm proudest of. There was a Bronze Star, there was an Air Medal with V.
That's for valor, isn't it, sir?
It is.
Valor has no meaning to liars like Jim Jordan and Donald Trump.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.